So, hi, I'm Fazia Costi, and today my guest is Patti Hulet, the owner of Sun Blossom Transformations. So, welcome to the show, Patti.
Well, thank you for welcoming me. I'm so excited to be here and talk with you and your friends.
Well, I'm really glad you're here. Patti and I have a really long history, actually. We've been working together for a number of years, and I'm very grateful for Patti, and I'm very grateful to have her in my life, but I'm also grateful that she's improved so much since we first met. So, I am. I'm very grateful for that, Patti.
Oh, am I?
I'm sure. It's been a long journey, hasn't it?
It has. It's a
Can
lot
you
of walking step by step.
can
Just
you
keep
share your
going.
experience a little bit with our listeners? Let's talk a little bit about, what brought you into my life.
Well, I had been an elementary school librarian for almost, well, it was 35 years. And so I had done a lot of teaching. I had been a teacher of the year. I had all these other things. I'd written a book. I was very active in my just not only my school but other schools and working with other teachers and librarians known not only around the state but known to other people around the country. And when I had that fall, wow, it was just like my life changed and it was like somebody punched the lights out, but I could still see. But it was a darker world then. And I said, I want to do this. I wanted to be a coach. I wanted to do this stuff. And I was going to keep trying. And so we met at an organization where we would meet other people. And I can still remember you talking to me and trying to say that, well, I can help you. And it's like, nobody can help me. Even the neurologist says you're fine. It's like, but there's not me. I'm not being, this energetic me using my hands, wanting to talk, wanting to share. I was very methodical, very slow. And I think you asked if I would at least give you a chance.
Yeah,
And
I do remember when we met. You were just so kind to me all the time, and I remember I knew what you needed, and I knew I could help you. And I remember I said to you, I said, just come to my office and let's just chat. And you did. And once you were there and you saw my office and you saw what I could do, then you scheduled your intake evaluation.
we had fun together. I mean, you brought some play back in there because you knew I liked to play. And so you brought some games in there that could allow me to feel like I was having fun and I could see the progress and getting me to think about things. I remember after I had fallen, I was intuitive enough that I could still see them in my brain when I was waking up early in the morning. I could see, oh, okay, somebody's in there sweeping all this the stuff from where it sheared down. And then later I said, oh, I feel like they're putting in a new scaffolding in there. Woo, that's going to be strong. Oh, but I don't want to fall, baby. But I need that new scaffolding because it's like I couldn't. I was so methodical. I couldn't think to do things out like normal. My daughter
Right.
said I was fine, but it's like I'm functioning, but I'm on this low level.
You weren't
And
functioning at the level you were used to functioning at. You weren't functioning where you wanted to be. And you've really put in the work. I mean, not you weren't just seeing me, you were seeing the neurologist, you were seeing the trainer at the gym. You had a
absolutely,
lot of different things that you were doing to really improve yourself. You basically created your own therapy.
I did because I was constantly looking. That's what I do as a librarian. I was constantly
Yeah.
looking to my kids. What were challenges that they were having? What could I do to help them learn the material, like being an independent learner and being able to learn library skills and finding information. So yes, I ran a 25 ring circus with my life, the things I had done with my kids at church and at home and in the neighborhood and the Boy Scouts and all this stuff. And it was just like, where's the enthusiasm to feel confident enough to do these? I can do it. I could, but
Well,
it's
let's
just,
let's talk a little bit about the healing process. So after your TBI occurred, you went to go see your neurologist, and from that, you went you went to the gym, and so talk to me
Kind
a
of
little
got
bit
kind
about
of
that process.
well, we went to it wasn't a gym, and now I'm having to think what it was even called, but there was a specialist who dealt with cognitive things. He was a doctor that dealt with it, like um, when or people that are in sports have injuries, and like with football players, he worked a lot with ASU and all the sports that they had. And so if they had an injury to their head, they went to him. And
Okay.
I'm very grateful that I got to go to him because they were checking my eyes and stuff and my ears and giving me exercises to actually walk on terrain and be able to look side by side. Like, okay, I hadn't done that, but even checking that with my ears, and we found out the crystal was off in one of the ears. But it took first time I didn't have anything. The second time I said, it still hurts. And the doctor had to make the lady do it over again. And I know she did a good job. I said, I know she did a good job, but it still hurts. And we found the crystal, and they did the exercises that they did to get it to pop back into place, and learning to ride a bike on this machine. I'm not really riding a bike, but it pretends, but it started giving me the confidence to move forward. And that was the hardest part is that, and then getting back to work. So I did get back to work, but I had lost the passion to teach. And so working with you is what brought it back because you were the ones that, well, you want to have clients. Well, let's get you out there. And you got me doing a free, I did a Stress Busters. And I got my workshop ready and it was free and I got the people to come to it. And then I started a class in January for having 2020 vision, which
Yeah,
is
so from that free class came actual paying clients.
yes, and I had 6 people that came to it. I had one client that started with that. I had somebody else that I had worked with a long time ago that we were friends with, but she came back, and then I had up to 11 clients. And I'm going, that's a little bit much for right now, but I appreciate it. But I had them spread out over a couple of weeks and stuff like that. So it's like I knew that I could do this again. But it's watching the skills. It's like at first I couldn't do the math. It was like I used to be so good in math. That was my high point. And here now, I need the calculator. And yet, just the other day,
Yeah.
I looked at something and going, I can do it in my head, and I did. I'd still double checked in my brain trying to do the math, but it was exactly what I estimated the answer would be.
Mhm.
Exactly.
That's fantastic.
The
Yeah,
fog is disappearing. The fog is disappearing.
the skills that you had before are starting to come back, and but it's not a freebie. You had to work for it. You really had to work for it. And we worked on a lot of different skill sets. And so you really come a long way. When I first met you, and I know I've told you this before, I could just see your confidence. You had your shoulders bent over and you were facing the ground, and I could see that you had just almost lost hope. And now you walk around with your shoulders high and you have so much more confidence. And when you speak, you can tell that you have goals and you're reaching those goals. So you're a different person than when I first met you.
Well, and I also feel I'm a better person. I'm still struggling trying to get there to on the writing and stuff like that. But I can remember when I'd have you help me even try to draft an email for a while to get things
I
started.
know.
And now I've written articles, I've written blogs, I've the writing. I've started a new set of poetry that I'm writing for my comes from within series, but it's a different angle on it. And so I'm more confident when things happen. It's like, yeah, I can do that.
That is true. When you first came in, you were just getting your business started. We actually did draft some emails together. And
Yeah.
now you're writing articles for my magazine on your own. And these are lengthy articles and they're um, mainly talking about your progress, which is fantastic. But you're writing them yourself. You're not needing any help
Oh,
for them.
now I do have editors looking at them. I do have readers because that's what a good author does is double check, is making sure it's getting across.
But
But
it's your writing. And
it's my
it's how
writing
you
and
write
it's
it.
people
Yeah.
I know and we're good friends and Like one of my editors used to write IEPs for schools, and she's so used to writing things succinct. And so she's really good about helping me get rid of the fluff and that kind of stuff because I talk, I know, a lot, but it's okay.
That's how you are though, Patty. I mean, that's who you are. You find the joy in everything that you do. Tell us about some of the most current challenges you've been dealing with. I know when we spoke before, you've had a lot of things happen recently. You're taking care of your dad, and you've had the
And the
shoulder
surgery.
surgery. And tell us a little bit about all the things you're dealing currently in your life, and how you're dealing with those challenges.
Let me back up just a little bit, but I went through a year of pain before we finally could have the surgery for the shoulder, going through
Right.
physical therapy, and then you had to wait for the MRI, and then you had to wait for the doctor and the appointment, and then you had to wait to get to the surgery, the hospital to be ready for it, and all that kind of stuff. And so it's now almost a year since I've had the surgery, and so I've had to do a lot of exercises, and my PT guy is do it slowly. Slowly is going to do it. And yet part of me is like, I can still reach up, but I go a lot higher with this arm. but, but it doesn't matter. I'm functioning. I'm moving. I'm able to dance. I can do things. I started to run again a little bit, not a lot, but just kind of. I'm able to move, and that was what my body needed, was to move. Also, dealing with my dad is very difficult because he's got dementia, and that a part of he's getting ready to die. His body's shutting down. And I am so used to working with people for helping them learn and grow and reach for their potential. And I can feel some of the emotions dragging me down because
And
I
just
can't.
for our listeners to know, your dad's in his 90s. Like
Oh, he's almost 94.
yeah, he's not exactly,
And
yeah, he's lived a very good and very full life. So,
he looks like he's in his 60s.
yeah.
Okay, so yes, thank you for helping me to clarify that. But it's just, you asked about problems, and that's, I was focusing on that. But anyway, but it's just, but now we've hit a rock bottom, which was like his own outburst that was like an emotional earthquake for me. But I love him. I constantly keep grieving along the way as I'm working with him. And
Mhm.
so that it's gone, that's gone. And I'm appreciating what he can do now. And I had no idea how much longer he's going to live. It could be years. And so I'm finding that I can go ahead with me and what I want to do to help other people and what I want to get out of me on paper, in books, in workshops for other people to grow from. So nothing's holding me back right now.
How do you handle you've got a lot of clients who come to you for support, and sometimes they're going through some very difficult challenges of their own. How do you balance your challenges with their challenges?
First of all, when I'm through working with them, I strive to wash their energy out. Love them still, but have the empathy on a level of a as I did as a teacher, more of a professional level of working with that. Now, my dad, that's why it's hard, because he's my father. He's giving
Right.
me, but it's having that empathy, it's having compassion, it's loving that person where they are right now. Like I've had one client that had to work through a lot of anger issues, and that's not me, except
Right.
I occasionally get angry. But the thing is, but what I've watched the yo-yo effect is, we watched how high he would go, how low he would go, and we've watched him coming in, and he's mellowing out into this beautiful person with all the wonderful things and without all the stuff down here going on. So it's just, I have to say that loving that person as they are, and then I'm helping him or her to the level they are ready to go to. And I can already sense they want, like you could sense me. They want to go further than where they are right now. And I see that potential in them. I'm always seeing that potential, knowing how awesome they are. And by having to work on myself, I know they're having to struggle, and we're just taking it step by step with them.
I think one of the things that I really appreciate about you is that you see that it's a process and you work on things and then you meet a goal and then you set new goals and then you meet those goals and then you set new goals. And so you're constantly working towards something better. And I think that's a really important thing to note because especially with what I do, a lot of people will come to me and they just want to get a couple skills under their belt and they think that's going to be it. But the reality is you might get those skills for where you're at right now, but there's different level of skills, right? So once you meet that next level of goals, you also need to bump up the skill level for maybe your executive functioning or maybe for something else. So I appreciate that you actually recognize that once you reach a goal, you have to now bump everything up to the next goal.
And I don't always wait to reach the goal before I'm pushing the envelope.
That is true.
It's like, oh, because I don't think I no, I shouldn't say I don't, I'm not sure that I could handle a big change. I appreciate the smaller changes in becoming as I go. And so that I kind
Right.
of from one thing to the other, that I trying to keep a balance in a sense.
Well, you do have big goals. I've noticed you have very big goals. Like you're for example, your business. You wanted to have your own business. And then as we started to help you grow your business, you actually said to me one day, I think I need to stop here and just enjoy where I'm at. I just need to stop here. And so you didn't want to bring in new clients. You didn't want to grow anymore at that point in time. But did that mean you didn't want to grow at all? No, you were still growing. You just needed to let other things kind of catch up with you and kind of get to a place where you were at peace with everything. And then you started to grow again.
Well, and now I just feel it's burgeoning with my
Yeah.
ideas just going on, and I'm constantly writing down during the day things to add to that. Or and one I will have to say, one of the things is meditation has really helped. And I can remember when you did the hyper
Hypnotherapy.
hypnotherapy. It just wants to hop over there. Anyway, the hypnotherapy, and I go, oh, I don't know if I want to do that, but yet doing that, I knew it was like the guided meditations and the other things that I had a lot of experience with, and that helped. And then the other morning, I even have my own, I am creating my own meditations now for different things and different topics. And it's like, okay, it's like, okay, what else am I going to work on next? But nope, I've got to do some more research and do some other things, and then it will come. And even like, well, I know you're going to ask me later what I'm doing right now, but I'm working on this book. And all of a sudden this morning, it's just like things started gelling in place.
Well, let's talk about the book. What was your process?
I have been keeping a file of tools, different tools. And so it's calling it right now my toolbox for inner peace. And so that's where when I work on things, if ideas come to me or whatever, I write them down. Um, I wake up in the morning with, I've taken myself through it's kind of a meditation, but it's just kind of helping calm my body down or whatever it is that I'm doing. And then I have things that happened like this morning. It was like, I've thought I have people do infinity symbol. I love thinking of eternal perspectives, because it gives me, it's not just right now. I've got it, I've got time, I've got things to learn. And I usually use this and do the infinity symbol, and it helps you create. And I find out you can move your body. It releases your neck. So it really does things. Well, this morning I thought, okay, well, what if I did it this way with my arms, my hands done differently and do it? It's like, oh my, this was moving forward. This was being committed, and this means I am really committed. I want whole heart, mind, body, and soul working together so that I am doing this and I can improve. That's fresh off the off the printing block of my mind. But it was
Yeah.
just I do I that's why I like to study a lot of different things, and then I juxtaposition things together that people don't normally put together. And that's where you're talking about the book. But the thing is, the what I want to say before I talk about that is that I think I said I'd like to run a 25 ring service. Well, I can do that now. It may only be 10 or 15 right now. But the fact that the scaffolding is in place, because sometimes I will get distracted and the rabbit goes by or the squirrel goes by, go down the rabbit hole and whatever. And then I go, what did I sit down here to do at the computer? It's not that way anymore. I have the scaffolding there so I got over to this and it's like, ooh, some part of me really needed this today. And then I can come back on the computer and going, oh, yeah, I know how to take care of that now. Took it. Oh, I'll come back here. Oh, that's what I was looking for. And now I can make a decision. Woo,
Right.
keep going back to it. I know why I sat down at the computer and within 5 minutes I had it done. But I
Right.
wanted to do it instead of, I have to do this.
Exactly.
So I'm grateful for the scaffolding that's coming in place. And I know it's going to get even more refined.
Well, and I think the beautiful part is you actively work on this every single day.
Yes. Not just 5 minutes here and 10 minutes there either.
Yeah, you are actually working a lot on mindfulness. You are in the moment. You are actively working on, feeling at peace. You are actively learning. You are actively being patient. You are actively enjoying your relationships. You are actively being a part of your family. Every single thing that you are doing, you're doing with intention. And I think it makes a huge difference. And when you do those things, you're not only living in the moment, but you're learning how to be the best version of yourself. So yeah, that's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about some of the great blessings that you've had that you've had a lot of blessings throughout your life, but currently I think you are more aware and talking about mindfulness, you are more aware, you are more in the moment. You are more aware of your relationships and how they interact, with each other. And I know that recently you had a lot of excitement in your family. You've got, yeah, your son just got married, your daughter moved away, and even though you were disappointed that she moved away, you know that it was for good things. Her husband got a great job, and that their life is going to be better as a family. Um, so let's talk a little bit about, all the blessings that you have in your life and how you recognize those blessings and how you feel about them.
Well, before I recognize them, I have to accept them. Like when we found out that in less than a month, my daughter is going to be in another state.
That is true. Both your big events this year or this past year were pretty quick. Like you found out about them and they happened quick.
Well, yeah, it was just the end of September, and he had just accepted the job, and he had to be there the 20th of October. And so we just going through, and then how are we going to help him? And I did help clean her house out, her rental house where they were staying, and help them get it cleaned up so that they could be ready to go and not have to worry about it. And my husband was able to help drive one of the vehicles up there, and I had wanted to go and be up there with part of it, but the relationship changes a little, and our daughter invited us so we could go up for Thanksgiving and see them in their home after she'd gotten settled. And while we were there, I found out that one of my cousins that I have not seen in 20 years lives 13 miles away.
That's really
I
awesome.
have another cousin's daughter and her family that lives 45 minutes away. And so it's like I have opportunities now to visit these other cousins. The one lives in Kansas, so I'll be able to see her more too. But it's exciting. It just brings a whole new level to life that way. And then 2 weeks before Christmas, my son invited us over for a late lunch at their house. And I'm going, I know this is plastic, but it's gold. This is really nicely set. I feel like we're celebrating something, but I don't know what. And my granddaughter didn't even know that they were going to get married. She found
That's
out
huge.
all the rest of it. So she had this shock. You're going to be called Mrs. Hewlett, and all this stuff. But this is on their 8th anniversary. So my son's birthday is Christmas Day. the 8th anniversary of really getting to know each other is the day after, and her birthday is the following day. So it's 3 magical days that they have had in their lives for years. But they had just made the decision to get married. And I talked to my daughter afterwards, and it has some funny things with that too, because anyway, but I got to talk to my daughter after the wedding because she was hooked at the hip with her stepmother. I mean, this is a whole new thing for her to be able to call her not auntie, but stepmom or mom or whatever
Right.
she wants to do. And I was telling her, I said, you're finding that your dad and Jen are really expanding in their love. It's getting stronger. And the good thing about that is that love is going to get stronger and it's going to include you even more in it. And she could feel it, the strength in that. And
Hmm.
it was fun. It was a Western type wedding. They took care of all the big details. There were only 20 of us there, but it was very nice.
Yeah, I saw the pictures on Facebook. It was a beautifully done, beautifully done.
And so,
Yeah.
and those are the blessings but the blessings I feel and how I recognize them is I'm learning to see how much it builds my life, makes me more excited about living. um, and then I feel good, and when I share them with other people, they are excited about them too. And the fact that more of them are coming more quickly now is more like when I used to want to go to work before. But I'm going to work right in this room or in the other room where I've got another computer. And
Right.
I work anywhere in any room of the house because it's whenever the ideas come. They come when I'm playing. They
Hmm.
come when I'm relaxed. And I just allow it. It's just in there. I have an intention to find something to help, and things happen around. And so that it comes.
And one of the things you told me, I think it was a week or two ago, is that, all your relationships have improved since you started to really, you're practicing this mindfulness, you're practicing all these different ways of improving your life. And, and you said something about like all your relationships have kind of improved. And
I
I
am.
think, yeah, I think it's because you've improved. When you work on yourself, then everything improves, doesn't it?
You're so right, because you have to improve yourself, because that's what even some of these other things, it was like I can't change them, but they trigger me off. So I have to get my triggers calmed down. And so there's a lot of working through those. And for me, prayer is part of that, so that I feel like I have some um, example of what I'm striving for. And it's just been interesting. And my husband has had some very ugly things that have happened where he lost his job, not because of that, but he was accused of things he didn't even do. And so it was very hard for him to go through that time. So we had a time where it was just really struggling for both of us to take care of each of ourselves, our own selves. And, but it's just been interesting as I've been able to clear myself and clear more and more and feel better about myself. He's changing. He even remembered our anniversary yesterday.
Well, happy anniversary.
And he even had some gifts in mind that we discussed and he bought. So, but he didn't know I had taken one of the pictures of the two of us and did a 14 by 11 picture in a frame to put on our wall. But he helped me get it on the wall. But it's coming. And I see more things happening,
Right.
that he's opening up and more willing now, willing's not the right, ready. He's more ready to receive and ready to be happy about a lot of things.
Hmm.
Even as I get to know somebody, I go, okay, I get to know that person better. I meet somebody else over here, or even at church or whatever, and I get to work with a 16-year-old girl, and we go visit other people, getting to know her and getting to know the new person I get to visit, and finding out, I think we're going to get together and we're going to do some art together, because acrylic paints, drawing, and whatever I want to do, we could have fun for an hour. Just
Absolutely.
enjoy it and learn from each other and just enjoy the camaraderie. So I really feel like um, the relationships will be stronger because we will know each other better.
You were also mentioning something to me a while ago about now that you have a new daughter-in-law. you have the extended family from her side. And you were talking about putting up pictures on a wall. And I thought, you're really expanding your social circle. You're expanding your family in
It is.
ways you didn't even imagine you would be, right?
Well, we've known her mother and her sister for years, but I got to meet her daughter and I got to meet her sister's daughter, excuse me, her son and her sister's son. And we talked with him and he said, I might bring my whole family out here now because he's excited to meet the rest of us too, because that's his part of it. But yeah, I mean, I wanted pictures of her, she and her mother and her sister. So I could have, she's part of our family. I mean, we've already had Easter dinner together here last year, but I want them because they're part of my family now. And I even took,
Well,
um,
they're officially part of your family now. They were part of your family before, but now it's official, right?
it's official. And there's something about making it official that makes a difference. I had a little foopla with some tickets to the Phoenix Zoo lights and I lost them. And so we bought the tickets to take the family. And then I ended up taking the two of them, new family members, and a friend, and we had fun at the zoo lights.
That's
So I just
fantastic.
take advantage of those things that come up like that and not get upset with myself. I mean, that is, there's a part of me that is a perfectionist to an nth degree. And I know I can't be. And so I've worked my whole life trying not to be, but there it's coming down to the point of I belong to a book club. It's like, Patty, you do not have to read every single book every month. Completely. And it was like, yeah, because I did it the other month. I read it as far as I could, and I couldn't handle it anymore. It just did not make me feel good. And but I still was able to talk about the book and whatever, and enjoy the camaraderie with the other ladies, and what we were doing. But I'm able to laugh at myself more and just enjoy the little things that I had to try to be the best I could be. Where now I'm doing the best I can, and I'm becoming a much better me.
Well, I think life is more lighthearted for you now. It's not so serious because the serious things are out of the way.
Yes. In fact, I'm leaving tomorrow to go up to a workshop in southern Utah. And I have not driven except right here in the valley. And now I've got a 7 hour drive
By yourself.
by myself up Thursday and back Saturday with 2 days of being around people that like the same kind of things I do. So I know it's going to be uplifting and I'll be learning and growing and I'll come back a different person then too. But it's just,
See, and that's the kind of stuff I was talking about. It's like you're always evolving, you're always changing because you're always trying to improve yourself. You're either working on a book club or you're working on, something for for yourself personally, or you're working at the gym. You're always doing something that makes your life better.
or doing art,
Yeah,
having different things. I've got in my art journal of different things. I know it's in colored pencil, so it doesn't show very well,
but
but
yeah,
things together that
just to
just,
express yourself.
and now that my shoulder's getting better, I keep imagining myself actually getting back into weaving. And so I will do short times, and get it back in there so it can handle the repetitive motions and that kind of stuff. So yes, the art projects, the sewing, the other things are coming back into my life.
Because you had a lot of different things that you really like to do. You're very creative. And I think that's important to really get those things back into your daily routine.
Yeah, the hammering for leather craft, I'm still a little worried about because I know when I tried to play my flute, my Native American flute, like, okay, I had to build that one up, again. And this one, I'll have to find some little projects to do. But yeah, but I will do. It's the small things that we do. It's not the big jumps, because then I fall off the wagon, so to speak. But it's the little steps, whether it's a mindset change or just to try it and find out it's not so bad, and then try something a little bigger and working with it. So
Mhm.
it's the little things that make the biggest difference.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I tell my students all the time, it's like, you know what? I know you're not good at this and it doesn't feel good right now to work on it. But if you just practice a little bit every day, eventually you won't even remember that it was hard for you.
Well, and it's even like what my physical therapist had said, because I was doing all the exercises every day, and he finally said, okay, it's time that you do a batch of them, and that's it for today. And so I've been allowing myself, I've got a week. As long as I'm doing this thing over a week or whatever, I get my piano playing in or whatever. I thought it's okay.
Right.
It
You've got
doesn't
to
have to be right
space
now.
it out a little bit.
Space it out, enjoy it. And then, so if I spend an hour or two doing something, it's okay because that's today. That's what I did instead of 10 minutes a day or something like that.
Yeah,
It's got the continuity is there to really enjoy life to the utmost.
I love it. So I want to swing back to your future plans because one of the things that you and I have talked about for months is a book that you wanted to write about your experience, your journey um, through this healing process. And I know that you've written several articles for Executive Function magazine, and I appreciate that. But the goal of that project was to get you to write so that you could actually form the story of your healing process and create a book out of it so that you can inspire other people. Can you tell us a little bit about that process? What's that been like for you?
That one is difficult. It is because I have to put, like, if part of me feels like, well, I'm saying I'm good at this, but it's like, no, it's the process. It'll be definitely the journey. But I think the fact that I'm getting back on track with getting my toolbox and working on that is helping me. The writing my poems, it is helping me get just the fact writing in my journal every morning after I've had these wonderful thoughts and feelings coming through. Writing those things down has gotten me going with that. What has helped right now is writing this last article that is coming out in next month's magazine,
In the
um,
February issue?
February issue, because there were some hard times working with my dad, but I wanted to have that role reversal from child to caregiver. And there's some things I did not put in the article, but I was thinking about even this morning, but oh, that's coming out for this part of my story of working with my dad, of where it's daddy daughter time, but it's got a timely twist. And so some of these things that I can put in there and show the growth that I've made with it. And and still there's still some childhood issues that I still want and need to work with that'll help me with some of those things. But it's like when I wrote my last book, my mom was saying, well, why don't you just start at the beginning? But no, I worked on this, I worked on that. If I had my artwork from beginning to end, I would not have been happy with how I started and would have started all over again. So I'm going to be working on different bits and pieces and getting those stories. And I've been collecting those stories that I have written, and they're going to be put together, but it's releasing the angst. I love biographies, but I also like having words in them that I may not put exactly what was said. I like the more memoir type thing so that I can say this is what was being said. That's the general conversation.
Kind
And
of the essence of the story.
essence of it. And that's what I've got. There was a person in my writers group that he found out that he calls it being the milkman's son. He went to found out that his dad was not who he thought was clearly not his real dad. And so he's written a book on the easy peasy method of writing your life history. So I'm looking at those kinds of things. So I'm looking at the stories, and then, but it's looking at how I want to have the overarching principles. Because I can write the stories, but I want to make sure that I can build a story that lets the reader feel satisfied for having taken the time to read my story.
Nice.
And so I'm still working on it, but it's getting myself there. And and even that writing for my this book's going to be exciting because I had a former client call me up and ask me if I could do a session with her, she and her friends, on an exercise, she called it an inner child exercise. And I'm going, yes. And I've got that to work for in March. So I've got other things that I'll be pulling back in there. So I've got that to be working because I have to feel like I'm serving somebody. I can't just sit down and write my story.
Well,
because
I think your story is going to be very inspiring to those who read it. And if anyone listening wants to read your story, they can go to executivefunctionmagazine.com,
Mhm.
and all our magazine issues are up on that website. Patty's picture is on the very first issue, and she's on the cover, and her very first story's there. And then she's written throughout the last couple of years several articles, so you can feel free to go through and find her articles in the different magazines. But she's really generous in sharing her story, and we definitely appreciated that.
well, thank you, and thank you for that little spur again, because
Yeah.
I do remember how good I felt when I wrote those and had them ready to go. And who knows, maybe bits and pieces of them will show up in my social media or on my website. That I've gotten started, but I need to go back and get it reactivated. I know that.
I
And
think from my perspective, I know how inspiring your story is, and I know that you are very talented and creative and very generous. And I think that when you wrote your story, and you just wrote the fourth version of the or the fourth, I don't even know what to call it, uh your fourth article.
it's
I think this particular article will, was it the fifth?
uh-huh, because I did
Oh,
one on the um, major surgery looming was a year
okay. So, yeah, so this is your fifth article for us. But I think if anybody gets a chance to go read them and read all of them in order, you'll see how far Patty's come. And you'll really get a sense of her journey and where she's at today. And if anybody's interested in working with Patty, her business is Sun Blossom Transformations. And Patty, would you like to share your contact information?
Yes, and I will go ahead and give you my phone number, because that is a good way of getting a hold of me. But please text, so I know you want to talk to me, and I don't think you are some scam call, because I don't recognize the number, especially if it's out of state. But my phone number is 480-628-5972. And my email is
Perfect.
sunblossom, sunblossom, at Cox, which is COX.net. I'm a flower in the sun, so I am a sun blossom at Cox.net.
Absolutely. And we are going to put all that information up on our YouTube channel when we put the behind the scenes video up. So you can grab all this information on YouTube. But if you are not on YouTube, you can also email us and we'd be happy to give you that information. I want to really thank you very much, Patty, for coming on the show and sharing your wonderful journey with us. So I hope you continue to make as much progress as you've been making the last couple of years.
Oh, it's going to be, the spur is there. It's going to be even faster now.
I agree with you. I agree
And
100%.
thank
So
you. Thank you for letting me be here with you and
it has
sharing.
been, yeah, it's always my pleasure. Just one little tidbit for our listeners. Patty and I actually share a birthday, not the same year, but we do. So every year on her birthday, I remember. So yeah, just a little tidbit. But yeah, thank you for listening. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, you can go to executivefunctioncoachaz.com. Or you can also go to 54mediagroup.com, and we would be happy. You feel free to send us an email, or if you'd like to be in our magazine, you'd like to write an article, you can send me an email about that. Or if you're looking to work with Patty and can't get a hold of her, feel free to email me and I'd be happy to give you her information. If you'd like to call us, the number is 480-648-1122. And I just want to thank all of our listeners. Without you, this would not be possible. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.